Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wist. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Hello, Michael Bafaro and Michael Mitto. Tell my audience about your film Amber's Descent.
Amber's Descent is a little supernatural ghost story about a woman, famous pianist and composer who's left the big city for a more tranquil life in the country after a traumatic incident. And while she's writing her latest symphony in this isolated home, some supernatural events begin to happen when her latest symphony begins writing itself.
I like that line at the end. That was good. That was some solid sizzle there, my friend.
Thank you.
Tell me about co-writing and the process it took while creating this screenplay.
Originally, I had the idea to write a screenplay. I was going to do this on my own. I had started writing it prior to meeting Michael, about a year before, not even a year before I met Michael. And we started working together shortly after I started the screenplay, and I pitched it to him. We were dicking around, and I was really busy working on another project at the time. And I thought, you know what, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to work with someone else again, someone fresh, someone, I had to put that other one aside. And I told him, I said, let's work on this one together. Because I was so busy working on this other project that, and it just worked out. He came on board. He knew what the film was going to be, basically, where we wanted to end up with it. And we went and we did it, and it worked out.
Sounds efficient. What were some horror movies that consciously, or maybe even now you can realize unconsciously, influenced this movie?
Yeah, consciously, I think it would be like movies like The Shining or Jacob's Ladder and Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive, yeah.
Those, consciously, I guess like unconsciously, would have probably been some of those like 60s or 70s, ghost stories and supernatural films, like a lot of stuff they would have done, in England at the time, like even films like The Wicker Man, very different than ours, but subconsciously there's a lot of the same, DNA there.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are all great movies for people to check out. Do you think the isolation scene in this movie in real life translates into deeper creativity?
I think, a healthy dose of isolation definitely does help with creativity. I mean, it's hard to say because like I've lived in cities my whole life, so I've never really lived in that sort of the remote, kind of setting. However, like when you're writing a screenplay or even working on, a film project,
you're always working basically isolated yourself anyway.
Exactly. We could be working at a coffee shop, on a very busy street, and it feels very isolating because you're so insulated in the world of the film that you're creating. And, you might step outside to get some air and you see all this life in the street, and you feel very disconnected from it,
I find that it helps me when I'm working sometimes around people, but not engaging with these people, because I find it helps me focus a little more on what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. White noise, essentially.
I'm sure, obviously day-to-day things are different, but what was the general vibe like during the shoot?
Oh, it was a crazy shoot just because, we did not have, a lot of days, and it was, for a film that's relatively contained, it was still like a large undertaking just because we didn't have the manpower, etc. So I remember, I think like our first day of shooting, like Michael and I, after the first day, we fell behind a little bit, and we had to kind of assess our scenes for the next day, and that's pretty much how the whole shoot went. Michael and I would wake up.
We managed to catch up. I mean, we did catch up.
But pretty much the whole shoot was Michael and I waking up probably an hour and a half before the rest of the crew.
Showing up on set
to go over the day.
Working late at night after we wrapped while everyone else was having fun. It was a really good experience for a lot of people. Like it was, like there was no stress on set. Very seldom did we have any sort of like, disagreements with anyone. Everyone was there where we shot. We shot outside of town, so I think that the crew usually unites when they're working away from their regular place where they're working and living. So when you're away on location and whatnot, I think the crew actually falls together and they're all working toward the same thing, right?
Awesome. Tell me about the cast a bit.
I'm in the cast of it. Yeah, but the lead is Kayla Stanton, who plays Amber. She is somebody who, when we were writing the film, we knew her just from our neighborhood in Vancouver. She was an Australian actress who had moved here. And she had the perfect sort of regal look that this character kind of called for. And the rest of the cast, I mean, I play Jim, the handyman, the lovable handyman. I think the distributor is like marketing me as sort of like the sex symbol in the film. So, but yeah, and then we've got Nathaniel Von Vossen is in it, and Colum Hill, and they've actually both.
We've all worked together. I've got a little history with the boys that are in the movie. In that we had made a film just prior to doing Amber's. We did a movie called My Phone, which is based on a true story that happened to me when my phone got stolen. I decided to do sort of a little, feature based on one night of searching for a phone with a guy I did not know, who was intent on helping me get my phone back. It was a kind of an After Hours type movie. You remember After Hours?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's very much in that vein, that New York sort of, yeah. So
and that's where.
Working with these actors on Amber's Descent was fun. Like I had already done some work with them, so now we all know how we work together and whatnot. So it helps, It was really good to work with all the actors.
Perhaps this is an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Was there a MVP in the crew?
MVP in the crew.
I think they're all pretty good. There was the one kid I cannot for the life of me remember.
Oh, Mason.
Mason, that's it.
Oh yeah, we had one of the locals from the town we were shooting in. He was one of our PAs, and yeah, this kid Mason. He was a wild. He showed up on set. He was this. He reminded me of Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looked like a grown-up version of Bobby Hill, but he was wearing a do-rag. And
constantly passing out on us.
Yeah,
but,
he was
when he was working, he was a freaking like crazy man. Like he could do the work of 10 people, but every once in a while he'd just disappear because he'd be because it was hot where we were shooting a lot of, like it was the middle of summer, and it was like he could not handle the heat. So he would every once in a while just disappear with heat stroke, But other than that, he was a freaking trooper, He was really good. I liked him. But they're all good. Everyone on the crew was good. Everyone. Yeah.
Do you think there is there's an extra appeal to horror during Corona?
No. I'm joking.
I think there's an appeal. Like I think there's an appeal for a lot of content right now. It doesn't matter what you're into during Corona, as long as it's good.
Well, and also I think any genre film like horror, sci-fi, anything that's like kind of beyond the realm of like our normal world that's set in, something that's clearly make believe is really appealing right now, because I don't think nobody wants a grounded, realistic film, every night of the week,
even though we've made a couple of movies,
even though we have, yeah, but
we've made a couple since Amber's Descent.
Oh, nice.
We shot one picture called Flu.
Mm-hmm.
It was shot prior to Corona. Wow. We actually wrapped in November of 2019. And while we were in post-production doing all our editing and whatnot, Corona basically hit the airwaves, right? And then shortly after that, we were asked to write and produce another film called Quarantined, which we're just about to finish up now as far as the post-production is concerned. We're about to deliver that film.
Yeah, Michael's laughing at what I said, because I said people don't want realistic movies about what's going on. And literally the two movies we did after Amber's Descent, one of them, which you just said is Flu, is a COVID movie pretty much before COVID existed. It's the effects of the global flu pandemic. And then Quarantined, again, in a similar vein, we got hired to do this film. Similar subject matter as well. However, the films themselves couldn't be more different. Yeah.
What's it like to shoot during Corona?
It is.
Well, we did the one film during Corona,
Yeah,
which was Quarantined. We did with a minimum crew, like we're talking 10 people at the most. At the most, we had maybe 15 people on set at any given time. And everyone was really good. We were all very, safety awareness, all that kind of stuff. I think we had, like I said, at the most, maybe 10 crew members at any given time.
But, there's like, obviously, it's like, it's a totally new thing for when we're shooting. Like if there's possibly the scare of someone being sick, it really like warps your mind, because you're like, holy shit, like if someone does get sick, especially when we're doing films independently, we don't have the studio backing for them to say, oh yeah, just shut down for like 2 weeks or whatever. It's like if someone on our crew
had been
infected, like our movie would be killed.
Yeah, we never would have been able to finish it, only because everyone's got to isolate for 2 weeks. It would have been really difficult to hold on to the location, because you're and the location people get kind of weird, especially where we were. They might have been said we can't have you guys come back or whatever. You never know. You run that risk, right?
All right, well guys, thanks for talking to me today about your movie Amber's Descent. Do you have any final words about the project before I let you go?
I hope you guys all enjoy it. Say good things about it.
Okay, go and see it. Well, thanks a lot, guys.